preparing a will is very important because, most often than not, when people are no more, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of disputes when it comes to distributing what they have left behind. There will be court cases here and there. So it's always important that whilst we are alive, whilst God has blessed us to acquire some properties, we make sure that those properties are put down in writing. I mean, it's a declaration of our intent as to how those properties should be managed when we are no more. So preparing a will is very, very important. It's very, very, very important. So now that I've demystified the misconceptions surrounding will, and also talked about the importance of preparing a will or one having a will, let's then look at what a will is. If we talk about a will, what do we mean by a will? Simply, a will is a legal document. It is a legal document that is usually prepared by lawyers, and it's the intention of the testator. So what I mean by the testator is the person who is making the will. So the person is declaring his intention whilst he's alive that, okay, so when I am no more, this is how I want the properties that God has blessed me with, or the properties that I've acquired. This is how I want it to be distributed. So basically, a will is a legal document which envisage the intention of the person making it as to how he wants his or her property to be distributed when he is no more. So now I want us to wait. You can stop me at any time if you don't understand something, you want me to explain something further. So now that I've talked about what a will is, declaration of intent as to how one wants his or her property to be distributed, or how one wants his or her body to be treated, after he's no more. They are all things that are contained in a will. I want us to look at some of the general requirements in making a will. So what makes a will valid? What makes a will valid? So one, in Ghana, and I believe it's in other jurisdictions as well, a will must always be in writing. A will must be in writing. And the will must also be in accordance with the Wills Act. So here in Ghana, we have an act that defines and explains how wills are supposed to be done. And I want to believe that in other jurisdictions, such as Germany also, there are other, there's a will act that defines how will should be done. It's cut across. So the first requirement is that it must be in writing. And then secondly, the will must be made by a person who is 18 years and above. So you should be at least 18 years to be able to prepare a will, or allow or instruct your lawyer to draft a will for you. You must also be of sound mind. So the reason why we say you should be of sound mind is that you have to understand the nature and effects of the will that you are instructing your lawyer to draft for you. So that is it. It must be in writing, must be made by a person who is 18 years and above, and also of a sound mind. So now, what is the scope of a will? When you're talking about a scope, what do you include in a will, or what is the parameters of the will? So, for when it comes to drafting of a will or making of a will, we are talking about self-acquired property, something that you have acquired yourself. So the thing should be owned by you, the person who is making the will, or you should be entitled to that thing or that property at the time of your death, or that you'll be entitled to that after your death. So let me give an example. We all know that, pension, we all contribute towards our pension. And we know that at the end of our retirement, we are entitled to it. You understand? So it's similar to your property. We can say that what you are doing is your property. You know that you'll be entitled to it even after your death. You understand? So those are some of the things that you can state in your will. So we are talking about movable and immovable property. So by way of immovable property, what we mean is that you are looking at land or landed properties. So you may have a bare land which you bought yourself or which you own, and you want to bequeath it to someone or a dear one, or a movable property. So your cars, your investments, your money in your bank, household chattels such as your clothing, your jewelry, your watch, your suits. Those are what movable properties that you may want to leave for your dear one. So aside the property, which is one of the scope of a will, you are also expected to appoint what we call an executor. So for the executor, they are responsible for administering the will and also distributing the property. In some instances also, you have to also appoint a trustee. So there are instances whereby the person making a will, you want to leave something for a minor, but you know a minor cannot handle that particular thing. So you appoint a trustee. A trustee basically is someone who holds a property or an asset on behalf of the beneficiary. So the person is a minor. It's not only minors that trustees are created for. Sometimes trustees are also created to manage the property. So maybe you may have a property, a number of properties that you think that your beneficiaries or the people are not in a position to handle it. So you create a trust. So the trust, you appoint people who are knowledgeable about that particular asset to manage it for you, and then the proceeds will be given to people that you want them to have. So that is it about the scope as well. So now, and another thing that you can also do in a will is that you can also give direction as to how your burial will be, whether you want to be cremated or whether you want part of your body or your whole body to be used for educational or research purposes after your death. So it's also something that you can also state in your will. So it's not only about your movable and immovable properties, but then you can also give direction as to how you, the person, you want your body to be disposed of after you are no more. Whether you want your body to be cremated. By cremation, we're talking about burning of your body and then the ashes put in a bottle for preservation, or you want parts of your body to be used for educational or research purposes. So I spoke about appointment of an executor. An executor, as I said, is someone who administers your will and also distributes your estate when you are no more. And it's important that in drafting a will, you appoint such executors. And for purposes of the executor, someone will ask who can be an executor. Usually, the requirement is that the executor should be someone who is at least 21 years of age. You understand? The person should be at least 21 years of age, and the person should be someone that you trust. That's, I mean, at your demise, when your will is being read, he will be able to take care of the distribution for you. And another significant thing you need to be mindful of in drafting a will is witnesses. So you are supposed to have at least 2 witnesses to attest to your will. The witnesses are not required, or they did not know or see the contents of the will. Their only role is to confirm that indeed you are the one who have instructed your lawyer to draft the will for you, and indeed you are the one who is also signing the will. So when it comes to signing of the will, the requirement is that the testator must sign the will at the bottom of the will. So after you have made all your depositions in the will, you are supposed to sign it at the bottom. After signing it, anything below that will be deemed as invalid. So you sign the will after it's been prepared, and then you must sign it in the presence of those witnesses. So after signing, those witnesses must also come and sign as well. As I said earlier on, the witnesses need not know what the content of the will is. Their only duty or their only role is to attest to the fact that indeed you have signed the will and you have sound mind in signing the will, and they also signing it as well. So that is it about the signing of the will. And I also want to talk about revocation of the will. So after you have signed the will, right, what you need to do is that your lawyer will put it in an envelope, and then it will be sealed by a wax. So once it is sealed by a wax, then it will be deposited at the court. So usually the will is drafted in triplicates. So one will be kept by your lawyer, another one will be deposited at the high courts, and then the last one will be kept by you, the person who has instructed that the will should be drafted for you. And what the fact that you've made a will which has been deposited at the courts, or is kept by your lawyer, or one is by you, does not mean that you cannot revoke it. What I mean by revoke it is that you cannot destroy it, or you cannot change your mind. If at any point in time you think that you have acquired something which, or the distribution that you've made in the will, you want to amend it, you can always amend it. So by amending it, it means that you are revoking the earlier will and also drafting a new one. You can also revoke the will by what? Also burning it or destroying it. But mind you, once you burn it or you destroy it, you must make sure that you take steps to revoke or recall the one that has been deposited at the court. Because if you don't recall the one that has been deposited at the court, they still have it at the court as evidence of your will. And in future, if you are no more, because you have deposited at the court, even though you have revoked the one maybe with your lawyer or the one that you have in your possession, that one will still stand. So it's important that if you want to revoke it or if you want to amend it, you amend it so that the one at the court is recalled. Or even if it is not recalled, you can prepare another will. So the latest in time will take precedence over the previous one. So it's important to know about the revocation of the will as well. I also want to talk to you briefly about some of the rules of construction. So for instance, if you prepare a will and you've made provision for people in the will, and those people predeceased you, what I mean by predeceased you is that maybe the beneficiaries of your estate, they die before you. What the rules of construction says is that those the property that you intended giving to them, they will fall into the residue of your estate. So it means that they will come back to you. They will come back to you. So that is one of the rules that I want to draw your attention to. And another thing that I want to draw your attention to is that if in drafting your will, if you did not make reasonable provision for your spouse, your children, your father, or your mother, the law also makes it clear that those people that I've mentioned, your child, your spouse, your spouse, coming through, your child, your spouse, your father, your mother, they could go to court to say that no reasonable provision was made for us. But this one is on a case-by-case basis. What we mean by reasonable provision is that if it's only you who can prove that no reasonable provision was made for you, but then if there's a counter argument to the effect that, you were catered for, reasonable provision was made for you, but it was not made for you in a will, the court will not accede to the request by whoever is making that challenge. So bringing my presentation to a close whilst I take questions, because I know that you may have a number of questions. So, in conclusion, what I want to let you know is that drafting a will does not mean that you are signing your death warrant or you are making a death wish. Rather, preparing a will or having a will is to ensure that in your absence or after your death, things are managed properly. Your intention as to how you want your properties to be distributed are all reduced into writing in a will. So that is the importance of a will. And it is very important that we all draft a will so that our intentions, whilst we are alive and whilst we are dead or we are gone, is what? It's respected. So that nobody will come in later on to say that, oh, he's my uncle, she's my auntie, and maybe this property belongs to me, and I contributed in making this property, and for that matter, I also want a share of it. It's to avoid this chaos, to avoid this confusion, is to avoid these disputes. That is why we advise people to make sure that they make a will. And in making a will, the things that you are supposed to have in a will is your self-acquired properties. Self-acquired property. If it's a family property and you have an interest in that family property, it is not for you. It is for the family, and for that matter, you cannot will it, to someone in your will. And I also stated that you need to appoint an executor, someone who will administer and distribute your will for you in your absence. And then you also need witnesses, at least 2 witnesses, those who will sign, will attest to the fact that you have signed your will, and then they will also attest to it at the same time. That is what it is about. So, and then when you are done, the will will be sealed, to be put in an envelope, and then will be deposited at the courts for future purposes, so that when one day you are no more, you can go for it. And I also stated a scripture that is in Isaiah 38 verse 1, where Hezekiah was very ill and at the point of death, and then the prophet Isaiah went to him to tell him that he should put his house in order because he was going to die, and the fact that he did not recover. So by this, I want to bring my presentation for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lawyer Amega.
Hello, Doc.
Thank you so much for the wonderful exposition on the will. And yes, we have enough time for a powerful discussion. And so, please, if you have any question for now, please raise your hands and you'll be called to ask your question to Lawyer Amega. And we also reminded that we are live on YouTube, and so you can check up on YouTube for further education. Pastor Foster, please have the microphone. Pastor Foster.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Quay. Good evening to us all. Lawyer Amega, thank you very much for your presentation. In fact, you have really made it concise so that all of us will understand. But, from a layman's point of view, if you have someone who is aged, who might not be privy to going to court and trying to put it in a written document, sealing it and all that, but has written something or has told a few people who are around that when I die, this person should be in charge of my cocoa farm. This person should be in charge of my single room. This person, though the person has not gone to the court and has not employed the services of any lawyer, does it stand to be a will, or legally it's not a will? But I've seen it happen locally, and at the end of the day, they gave what he declared to the various people that he declared it to. I don't know, but maybe you can help. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much for that question. That's a very, very, very important question. So we have what we call customary will. There's also something we call customary will. So with the customary will, that is what you rightly said. So there are instances whereby people are not able to engage the services of a lawyer because, for the will, there are of obstruction. There's a way you have to. You are not able to. You want your property to be given to someone. The example that you cited, the cocoa farm. You must make sure that they are witnesses. You must make sure that there are witnesses who are present, who can attest to the fact that indeed, during your lifetime, you decided to give this particular. There should be people who attest to that fact. And usually, in some instances, the person who is the beneficiary.
Lawyer, please, we can turn off your video. Your line is breaking. So if you can turn off your video so that we can hear you very well.
Okay, that is fine.
Thank you.
Is it better? Is it better?
Yes, please. It's better now.
So what I was saying is that there are instances whereby people will not have that legal document, but then they may decide that, oh, okay, I want this particular property of mine to be given to either my niece, my nephew, my daughter, or my son. So in that instance, what I'm saying is that there is something known as customary law. So you need witnesses to be present. You need witnesses to be present for that to take effect or for that to be valid. So those witnesses must be at least two, you understand? And then there should be something as a consideration for that. So while the person is saying it, there are witnesses to attest to the fact that, oh, indeed, during the lifetime of this particular person, his cocoa farm is being given to Mr. A or Mr. B. And that person will also, as a form of appreciation, give something to the testator or the person who is giving it out. So by so doing, it will also constitute a valid transfer of property. You understand? But then, there has been instances where people, if you don't get, good witnesses, you understand, there could be a whole lot of rivalry, a whole lot of chaos, a whole lot of disputes. That is why it's important that, this education is going on. You understand? You talked about somebody who is aged. Yes, they may not have known or they may not be privy to this education that you are having now. So it's important that this education is given. So once you are aware of it, you can also pass it on to your aged father or mother, provided they are of sound mind, and then they can, attest to or sign the will. When we talk about signing, we don't mean just writing. You can also tamprint. There's also provision for tamprinting. And in law, we call something as draft, where you have to prepare a little write-up to indicate that you have, even if the person is not literate, the person cannot read and write, but you can explain to the person in a language that he or she understands, and then the person will tamprint. But all this must be in the presence of witnesses. So to answer your question, yes, there are instances where you may not have a legal document like I've explained, but the person will want to dispose of his property to someone. But then there should be witnesses there who attest to it that indeed, during the lifetime of this person, his intention was that this particular property should be given to Mr. A or Mr. B. I hope that answers your question, sir.
Yes, please. Please, Dr. Kwe, if I have the chance, can I do a follow-up?
Yeah, please do.
So, doctor, sorry, lawyer, please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear from you, please.
Okay, so lawyer, please, does that mean that anytime you are preparing a will, whether or not you include your mother, your parents or your children in the will, they should be part. Either they are in the will or out of the will. Allocation must be made for them. Is that the case? That at all costs you have to will, your will must cover them?
No, that is not the case. That is not the case at all. That is why the will is a declaration of your intent. You have acquired your property and you will decide who you want the property to go to. You understand? You can decide to give it to whoever that you intend to give it to. But the point I made about the mother, father, or children is that if, for instance, you did not, during the lifetime of your parent or your child, you did not make reasonable provision for them. Let's say, for instance, you did not take very good care of them. You understand? Or you did not take your children to school and the condition of your children is nothing to write home about, but they know very well that you have properties. You understand? And you are no more. The court, they can apply to the court and tell the court that, oh, he's my father. You understand? Or he's my mother. He has a number of properties upon his demise, but he did not take care of me. But I'm coming because of that relationship, because of that father or parent-child relationship, or parent-child relationship. I think that I am deserving of a provision to allow me to take care of myself. The court will look at the evidence that will be presented by that particular person and make a reasonable provision, you understand, for that particular person. So that is what I said. But then it is not, I'm not saying that when you are making a will, by all means, you must make provision for your parents or your siblings or any other person in the will. What it is your intention, whoever you want to dispose of your will to, that one is entirely up to you. You understand? Nobody can tell you that give this one to your child, give that one to your daughter, give this one to your parents. No, it is solely your decision. I hope I've answered your question, sir.
Thank you very much, lawyer. I'm grateful.
You're welcome.
Herbert, please have the microphone, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I want to have a follow-up question to what you are just explaining. So what about if a parent or father have maybe 8 children and he willed his property to maybe 3 out of the 8? Intentionally, he wrote the will that I want my property to be shared among these 3. The rest of the 5, they are not part. Can that hold, or the rest can take him to court and have their share?
That can hold. I mean, not to sound repetitive, but that is the more reason why you are preparing a will. You understand? It is your intention. It is who you want to benefit from your property.
Wow.
So once you have decided that, oh, okay, so I want my properties to go to just 3 of my children, I mean, the law will respect it. You understand? The law will not say that, why do you have children but have made provision for just 3 of them? No, the law will not say that. But then what I'm saying is that let's say, for instance, your children, you've educated them, they've all gone to school, they are all working. You understand? Those children cannot come and say that because I'm also your child, why didn't you make provision for me? No, the law will not entertain that. You understand? The law will not entertain that. It is your intention. So to avoid some of these things, that is why it's important that you must always reduce your intention into writing as a form of a will, so that in future, when you are no more, this quarrel and chaos and disputes will not arise. Thank you.
Thank you very much, lawyer Amega. Zion International will have the microphone, and after that, Antioch will have the microphone.
Thank you. Please, lawyer, I have a question. You said that we are supposed to will what is for us. We can't write something that is for other people in our will. My question is, married couple who does properties together. So if I want to draw my will, maybe the woman wants to draw a will, the property is in the name of you both. Can you add it to your will, or that doesn't hold in the will?
No, so once the property is owned by the 2 of you, so if you are willing, you have to roll a percentage. So say the property is owned by you, so it means that you are entitled to half or 50% of that property. So in your will, you can state that I am willing part of my property, you understand, that I own together with my husband or my wife. But because the whole property does not belong to you, you cannot will the whole properties, but then part of it.
Hmm.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
You can own part of it, but not the whole property. Because the law is that it should be owned by you. And by what do we mean by owned by you? It should be 100% owned by you.
Okay.
Yes.
And
So you
my
would.
yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I have a follow-up question. Maybe I am there. I pick up a paper, a pen, I write my will. I choose my executors. I follow all the rules of a will. I give copies to my executors, people I trust. I keep another copy in my safe. And when I die, it's not at the high court, but I have written and signed. Is that also a will? Or because I didn't take it to court and anything, I just wrote it down and I saved it and I gave it to somebody else, the executors, or a copy to somebody I trust.
Yes. So that one also, I mean, you see, you made mention of the fact that you followed the procedure, right?
Yeah.
You follow the procedure. So by procedure, you have appointed your executor. I mean, when you were I mean, you had two witnesses who were present at the same time to attest the fact that you are the one signing it, right? And
Yeah.
they have also witnessed to it. That one can also constitute a will.
Okay. The reason why I'm saying this is I used to work in a bank and I had this problem. A customer, the wife of a man, the man did a will without the knowledge of the woman. And the woman wasn't part of the man's will. She got to know after the man was dead, and they went to the high court to take. They thought the husband didn't have any will. You know, when the husband don't have a will, you go to the high court, and the high court will demarcate the percentages for the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so she decided to go to the high court and then take the normal demarcation, maybe 1/3 to the mother, 1/2 to the wife, this to the kids. They went and then somebody came up and said that your husband gave me a copy of a will, which the wife and the children were not
I'm not aware.
but the other people said they were witnesses. How will this happen? Maybe the family can even conjure something and say, "Oh, your husband did a will," and it was a very big problem. Because she wanted to claim the monies in the bank. You know, the bank, we just need the high court letter for us to release the monies to the people. And so that's the reason I'm asking this, because the man wasn't an old man. He was a working class man. And so he just wrote it down and it was in court.
Okay, so he drafted it himself and then he followed all the procedure.
That was what the witnesses are saying.
Okay.
But we don't know whether it's true, because the woman told us that the family doesn't like her. And so the family can sit down and draw something and come up and say that the man did the will.
Okay, so to answer your question, so they'll have to, you know, if the person did not make a will, the signature, you see, there are lots of ways to challenge the validity of a will. You understand? There are lots of ways to challenge the validity. So if the signature of the testator or the person who is no more, you understand, has been formed, there's a way to know it. You understand? So all those things can be subject to scrutiny. All those things can be subject to scrutiny. So the fact that somebody will just come out and say that, oh, like the scenario you are given, that, oh, I mean, someone has made a will, then there are witnesses to it and all that. And mind you, I mean, if you are under oath and you lie, it's also a criminal offense. So it means that you will be putting yourself in a serious trouble if you decide to misrepresent somebody's as your own. You understand? So it's very important. Yes, I mean, there have been instances where people will misrepresent other people's signature and say that, oh, okay, indeed, you know, this is the will of Mr. A or Mr. B. But those people must be very, very mindful of the fact that the law works, and if the law realizes that what you are saying is not the truth, and there are so many ways of going about it. There are so many ways of unraveling whether indeed it is the true signature of the person they claim to be the testator. So that is the answer that I'll give you. That is the answer that I'll give you. And you see, in all this, it's also very important that we are getting this education so that, we'll put our house in order. You understand? And make sure that the right thing is done. Sometimes people feel like, oh, okay, we are educated, we can do it and put it aside, and all that. But to avoid some of these challenges, that is why it's advisable that, if you even do it, make sure that you deposit one at the court and let someone with legal, knowledge to help you to do it. You understand? So that is why this education is very important. And I also need to state that the fact that, you know about drafting a will, if you do it for another person, because you are not a licensed legal practitioner, it's also a criminal offense. You understand? But even if you want to do it yourself, make sure that one is deposited at the court. You understand? It makes it very easy when you are no more for your intention to be addressed, or for intention to be followed through when you are no more than, not doing it at all, or doing it haphazardly and hiding it somewhere. And, there will be issues about whether the signature is even true, whether it is your true intent or not. So, in a nutshell, it's important that you get someone with legal experience to help you through it, and a copy, of course, yes.
Please, what about the person does video? Maybe a short video.
Yes, that even gives a clearer, or a higher property value to the role that the person has done. So the video part is also very, very good. If you want to do a video, and in the video you stated, but then again, mind you, whilst you are doing it, you should make sure that there are also people around. You understand? To attest to it. But if you look at our laws does not talk about video will. You understand? It only talks about the fact that it should be in writing. Because why the law does not talk about the video is that sometimes people can be, coerced or forced to do it. So let's say, for instance, there's a gun put on you that, oh, okay, make those declarations. You understand? And then those declarations are made. Yes, even though you are the one who made it, but who can say that indeed you made it out of your own free will? You understand? So it's important that we follow what the law says are the requirements for a valid will, and then we go accordingly. So with the video one too, what can be done is that if you do the normal one, as in making sure that it is in writing, where the witnesses are present and all that. So you do the drafting one, and whilst you are doing it, you can also decide to do a small video in addition to that. You understand? By just saying that I'm doing video alone, I'm making my declarations, by way of video or audio, that is not what the law says, because there could be a lot of issues relating to that. So you can do the video, but then the video should be about the procedure or the processes leading to, making the will. It's being in writing, the executor, and then calling the witness to come and attest to you signing. So when you are signing it, maybe you can do a short video while the witnesses are also attesting to it, a short video, and then you can just add it to it, even though it is not a requirement in law. But I don't think that if you do that, anyone will fault you for doing that. It just adds to, the credibility of the role that you have made.
Thank you very much. Answer Baya, please have the microphone.
Okay. Thank you very much, doctor. Thank you very much, lawyer. Please, my question is, can any lawyer prepare a will, or we have a special lawyers that prepare will for us? And my second question is, does preparation of will come with a fee or a cost? And my third question is, if I want to get a personal lawyer, how is the procedure done? How can I get a personal lawyer? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you to Obaya. So, I mean, every lawyer, every qualified and licensed lawyer has the right to prepare a will, because at the law school, when you are being trained as a lawyer, it's one of the things that you are taught at the law school. You understand? So, every lawyer who has learned his craft very well can prepare a will for you. And the second question is whether preparing a will come at a cost. Yes, the lawyer is rendering a service to you. So the service that the lawyer is rendering, the lawyer needs to be paid for that service that he's rendering to you. And to get a personal lawyer, I mean, of course, there are so many lawyers around. So you just have to contact one and negotiate with the person, or, I mean, express your interest or your intention of letting that person be your personal lawyer. I don't know the kind of services you want that lawyer to provide for you, but once, and the kind of agreement you want to enter into the lawyer, but then once you tell that particular lawyer that you want that lawyer to be your personal lawyer, the person can also agree to it, and then whatever legal issues or legal advice that you want, the person can offer it to you. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah,
Hello.
thank you very much, lawyer.
You are welcome.
Thank you very much, Lawyer Amega. Please, at 8:02, I would have to apologize to lawyer for exceeding the time. In fact, I told him 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. As soon as it was 6, he was the first person to enter the meeting room, and it's past 7. Lawyer Amega, please help us extend it to the next 10. I know you're still in the office and my is waiting for you. Please, in the next 10 minutes, we will finish. And if we give the opportunity for one or two more questions, then we can bring it to a close. Now, whilst we wait for a question, kindly teach us on the interstate succession law. I did it in contract to this.
Doctor,
Hello,
please,
Reverend.
I think Reverend Batu lifted his hand, if you can ask.
Okay, Reverend Batu. Sorry, I've not finished. Reverend Batu, please, after that, you can lower your house, Reverend Batu, have the microphone.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. K. God bless you so much. And then our lawyer for tonight. God bless you so much for this education you are giving unto us. I actually lower my hand because it's like in explaining some of the questions that people came with, or some of my colleagues came with. I realize in a way it has answered my question that I wanted to ask. But anyway, let me still, I wanted to know if you are married, if you, let's say you have married, you got married in a court, and then you did all the necessary documentations, and then probably you didn't see the need for, or the need to do the will, and you happen to die. Can it be instances where your assets will come back to your spouse? Or I want to know, will it go to your spouse or to your family, or does the law has the authority to stand in case any of them goes to the courts for their assistance? Thank you very much, sir.
So thank you very much for that question. So if you die without making a will, you are considered to have died interstate. You are considered to have died interstate. And there's a law that governs the distribution of your will interstate. So if you die interstate, the law is very clear as to those who are beneficiaries of your estate. So there's something we call letters of administration. That one it can be obtained by either your surviving spouse or your children. You understand? So usually the law requires that in order of priority, we have your surviving spouse, your surviving children, surviving parents, and also extended family. So in that manner, when you are no more and you did not make a will, your surviving spouse, if you have children, your surviving children can apply to the court for what we call letters of administration. And that letter of administration is what gives them the authority over or authority to administer your will, your property. And the law is very clear. If you have a matrimonial home, it goes to your surviving spouse and your children. And if you have any money in the bank, it goes to your surviving spouse and children. And if you have additional, you understand? Let's say, for instance, you have 2 or 3 houses, or you have so many properties, then maybe provisions, according to the interstate succession law, provisions could be made for your parents, you understand? And also extended family. But then there's a distribution, there's a ratio for distributing that. But priority is always given to your surviving spouse and children. So, I mean, so surviving wife and children, priority is always given to them. It is in rare situations where you have more than so many properties that, provisions could be made for surviving parents and maybe part of your extended family. But then it's just in a smaller proportion. I hope I've answered your question, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you.
All right, so a quick one. If you have one, maybe I want to ask next one.
I didn't hear that.
I guess if you have one, can I ask this one?
You want to ask a question? Please go ahead.
Yes, please. So, for instance, a man, as he was growing up, engaged a woman in a relationship, and they had children, say 2 children, and the man left the woman and legally went ahead and got married, and out of that marriage, 2 children have come out. But you stated it so clear that if your parents have taken you through school and your father has done a will and your name is not in it, you don't, I mean, the court cannot take anything from the will for you because your father has taken you through school. But maybe here be the case that before the new woman came in and got married to your father had done all the properties and everything was intact. I mean, so I want to know, are you still saying that because your father has taken you through school, and maybe under the influence of the new woman or the wife that he has gotten married to, he prepared the will under her influence and left you out? Are you still saying that the court wouldn't take anything for you because he has taken you through school? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So it has to do with your station in life. So by taking you through school, the assumption is that he has prepared you for the future. You understand? He has prepared you for the future. Unless you are able to prove to the court that even though they have taken you through school, you are unemployed. I mean, your station in life is nothing to write home about. You understand? And for that matter, your father has a number of properties and that you want part of it. That one, the court will look at it. It will be looked at on a case-by-case basis. You understand? The court will look at the circumstances and make provision for you. Either make provision for you or decline your request. So that is a request you are making to the court. You understand? To say that, oh, okay, even though my father has taken me through school, you understand, I still believe that I am not financially stable, or my station in life is nothing to write home about, but my father has a number of properties. So I'm making a claim for parts of the property to be given to me, or I'm making a claim for a reasonable provision to be made for me to be able to take care of myself. So the case will look at it on a case-by-case basis. But then, as I stated earlier on, your father or the testator is not obliged to make provision for you just because, I mean, the person has given birth to you. You understand? He decides. I mean, it's at his discretion to say that, oh, okay, I want to make provision for A or B in my will. The fact that the person is your father does not mean that automatically he must make provision for you. Once the person takes care of you, I mean, during his lifetime, he has done his bit. However, he distributes his property, that one, the law says that it's at his own discretion. You understand? So that is my answer for you. Thank you.
That's serious. Thank you very much.
Okay, Pastor Mesa, please have the microphone. You'll be the last person, please.
Oh, doctor, please allow us to ask our questions, please. Allow us, please.
Now, doctor, if only
today we have the lawyer. Let's ask our question, please. Even the lawyer understand.
Yeah.
Even the lawyer understand. He's a godly man, so he understands us. Yeah. Okay. My question is, for instance, if we, the parents, maybe a wife and husband, decide to will our properties to our children whilst we are still alive, and then coincidentally we divorce, can we go back and change the? Can you go back and maybe say, okay, now we are selling the property. Meanwhile, we have willed to the kids. Can we change it? Or one can say, no, this will is for kids, so we can't change it. That's my questions, please.
Okay, so thank you very much, Benjamin. So the will is not made together. It's made by one person. And as I stated earlier on, you only dispose of properties that are 100% owned by you. If it is owned jointly, you only dispose of parts of what is owned by you. You understand? So if
but this time, please, we both parents, we have decided to will to our kids.
Okay.
With the mutual understanding.
Okay.
Husband and wife say, okay, this all our properties for our kids. We have signed, it's documented. And then along the line, unfortunately, there's a divorce. Can one come along and say, no, I'm demanding my portion for me? That's what I want to know.
Okay, so Benjamin, let's unpack your question. The two of you deciding that the property that you have acquired, so you've acquired it together, correct?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
And you decide to will it to your kids. So what it means is that before you will it, bear in mind that the property belongs to the two of you. So it's either one of the spouse agreed to transfer his or her portion, you understand, of the property or her interest in the property to one person. And then that person will have 100% interest in the property. And then that person with 100% would then will it, you understand, to your children. So if in the unlikely event or in the event that you guys are no more, you understand, and one party decides that, oh, okay, because you are no more, I don't think that my portion should be given to our children. Is that a question?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So that person does not have the right again because the person has transferred, the interest to the other party. You understand? So once you transfer your interest, you do not have any right over the property again. So you cannot come and say that, oh, because we are no more, I'm coming back for the portion of my or the interest that I have in that property, because you have already given your interest to, let's say, for instance, your wife has given her interest to you, and then you have willed it to your children, and God forbid you are no more, and she's saying that, oh, okay, I'm coming for my interest. No, the law will not allow it because the property has already been willed to what's the name? Your children, unless you decide that, oh, okay, out of sympathy, I want her to have a portion of it. Then in that case, you revoke the will. I talked about revocation. The fact that you've made a will is not exclusive, that you cannot revoke. So if you revoke the will, and even that, if you revoke the will, mind you, he has transferred his interest to you. So it will be left to you to decide whether you want to give her her portion. You understand? So once she has divest her interest in the property to you, it becomes yours 100%. I don't know if I'm answering your question, Benjamin. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But lawyer, but I thought you said earlier on in your submissions that a new interest or a new will overwrites the older one. So how different is the new will overwriting the old one from this one?
I didn't hear the question. The line was breaking, Foster.
Yes, please. I said in your earlier submissions, you said that if you want to revoke your will, either
Yes.
you go to court and ask them to give it back to you, or
Yes.
you do a new will that will come to overwrite the older one. So I'm
Yes.
asking that, well, how different is that one from this one? Because if we're together and we decided to do this, and now we are no longer together, and I want to revoke it, you are saying this one is not possible. So how different is this one from the earlier on? Thank you.
I never said it's not possible. I said that if, for instance, I mean, the question that Benjamin asked, so they were living together and then they have decided that, I mean, they want to will their property that they have acquired together to their children, right? So, and I'm saying that because the property was owned by the two of you, in order to will it to your children, one party must divest his or her interest in the property to another party so that you have 100% interest in it to be able to will it to your children. You understand? So if you will it to your children and then you are no more, and you want a portion of your property, it will take the sympathy of the person that you have divested your interest in to say that, oh, okay, then if you want it, then I'm going to revoke, the will, which has transferred the property to our children. And then after revoking the will, now the property will now come back to you, the person who divested or transferred it to your children. And if you want to give your other half his interest in it, then you can give it to your other half. Is that clear, Foster?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so lawyer, my guy, if I can understand, a husband and wife cannot will a property out unless one person owns it.
Yes. So what I said is that a husband and wife, they've acquired it together. So your interest is equal. You understand? So it's either you will your interest in the property. So I'm willing my interest in a property which is owned by myself and my wife to my child. So in that case, if you are no more, it's only your interest, unless your wife also decides that I'm also preparing a will and I'm also willing part of my interest in that same property to that my child. You understand? So it is your interest. So let's say, for instance, if one person is no more, it is 50% of your interest in that property that will go to your child. But if the two of you agree that you want to will the property, the whole 100%, you understand, to your child, then it means that one party would have to, two ways, would have to either divest his or her interest in the property to another party so that the other party will have 100%, or she will also make a will and then divest her 50% interest in the property to the children, and then you also prepare a will and divest your 50% in the property to your children for them to have 100% in it. Is that clear?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Because you own the property together, you cannot individually or unilaterally dispose of the whole property to someone because the property is not owned by you 100%. If you want to dispose of the property, you dispose of portion that belongs to you.
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Please, any last question? Any last question? So, Lawyer Mega, I have my money. I've made money and I've bought a property at East Legon, $1 million. And I bought it to myself because I love my wife. I document, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Quay. That does it mean that I've relinquished the ownership of the property and added my wife so that I cannot have power over the property and I cannot will it to my children? That is that what it means?
That is what it means. Because once you do it, Mr. and Mrs. Quay, you understand? It means that it is the two of you that own the property. Do you understand? It means that it's the two of you that own the property. So you have
the wife can will his part of his portion of the property to her brother. Is that the case?
Well, yeah. Once it belongs to you, I mean, once the two of you owns it and you want to will your portion to your brother, you are at liberty to do that.
Okay.
So you're willing your portion, just your portion, because it's an interest. You know, properties, I mean, you have an interest in it. You understand? So you are willing part of your interest in that particular property to your brother.
Okay.
So the difficulty in distributing the property will be that you either get a valuer, you understand, who will say that it depends on the nature of the property. If the property cannot be divided, then it will be sold, and then the money will be your percentage. So if it is half of the money will be given to your brother or whoever the beneficiary of the beneficiary is in your will, or the person who has half of the other property will say that, oh, okay, the valuer has valued the property for 100,000. I'm ready to pay you the 50,000, and then I'll take the whole property. Is that clear?
Yes, please. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear from you.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, lawyer.
Okay.
Lawyer, finally, I think I thought once you are married, anything of the husband is the wife's, and anything of the wife is the husband's. But in this case of Dr. Quay, that I bought my property 1 million, that's supposed to mean that he bought it and the wife is not part. I thought once you are legally married, everything that is thine is mine. Everything that is mine is thine, or is different in law.
So once you are legally married, the position of the law is that once you are married, every property that is acquired during the subsistence of the marriage, it is presumed to be for the two of you. Is that okay? It is presumed to be for the two of you. So in the event that maybe you don't want to be together anymore, you understand, the property will then, I said, it is presumed to be that for the two of you. So if you decide not to be together again, I mean, you are entitled to equal share unless there's an evidence to the contrary that maybe you purchased it solely for yourself. You understand? Or you bought it solely for yourself and then you've made provision for your other spouse. But then the presumption is that once you are married, every property that is acquired during the subsistence of the marriage belongs to the two of you. You all have equal equities in the property.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lawyer Amega, and want to thank everyone for joining. Do we have any final questions to Lawyer Amega?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please. Lawyer, my question is, I made money before I got married. I put up a property before I got married. Then in the course of the marriage, I died. Right? And I love my wife too. I love my children. So what happens to the property? Meanwhile, I haven't done anything for my family as well. So what happens to whatever I leave behind, especially my properties, between my wife, my children?
So from your question, I mean, once you acquire the property before you got married, the property belongs to you 100%. And if you die without making a will, right? I mean, the law is that it's your matrimonial home. You understand? Even though you got it before you got married, it's your matrimonial home. So the woman, the law will consider the woman as a beneficiary of your property. But if you made a will, you understand, and you excluded your wife from the property, then that one is your own intention. But if you acquired the property before you got married, the position of the law is that the property belongs to you alone. And to look at it in another way, if you acquire the property before the marriage, and then, I mean, you don't want to stay together any longer, the woman cannot lay claim to that property and say that, oh, okay, and because I'm married to you, I have an interest in the property. No, the law is very clear. The woman can only lay claim to it when the property was acquired during the subsistence of the marriage. But then if you acquired it before the marriage, the property belongs solely to you. You understand? But then if you do not make a will before your demise, I mean, the woman will be a beneficiary of the property by reason of the fact that you guys are married together. But you guys were married, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, what do we say to Lawyer Amega at this time? What do we say to Lawyer Amega? What do we say to him?
Thank you very much. God richly bless you for, opening
Thank
our
you,
eyes
God.
to some of these
God
things.
bless you.
God
And please, what
bless
I want us to do is that let us open our mouth and pray for Lawyer Amega and bless his life. He has really given us education and wisdom. Please, you can unmute and let us pray and bless Lawyer Amega and his profession, his family, his finances. Yeah, one payam Lawyer Amega. Let us open our mouth and bless
Father, we
Lawyer Amega in the
thank
name of
you for
Jesus.
his
Father, in the
life.
name of Jesus.
O Lord.
Father, we thank you for the life
Father,
of
whatever he has lost this evening, we pray, O
Lawyer
Lord
Amega.
Almighty, you
We
replenish
pray, Father,
grateful in the
you will
mighty
stretch
name of
forth your hand,
Jesus.
O God, upon
Father, we pray the Lord Almighty, we bless him, let him bless people
give him,
in
O
the
God,
name.
cause some faith.
Pray the Lord
We
Almighty,
pray
you see him through in the
prayer,
bless his family, bless everybody, bless
Father,
him in the mighty
of
name of
every
Jesus, bless the works
enemy
of his hand in the mighty name of
present
Jesus. We soak him into the blood of Jesus. Let the blood that speaks more than the blood of Abel speak
In
for
my
him.
life,
His
I'm
son,
telling
oh
God,
you,
Lord,
my
healing
life
let
things
is
him
so
be
good.
delivered
You
in
will
the
never
mighty name
die
of
to
Jesus.
power.
Father, any
You will
blame
never
and
die
revenge
to
what
you
he has
favor,
in
There
the
will
you
never
make
be
it
material death
we
in
pray that
family.
Father,
Lord
There
Almighty,
will
your
no material
countenance will
death
always
that
be
will
around him. Let him
have
deliver and multiply his
any
in the mighty name of
encounter,
Jesus.
any
As
oh
he has
God,
prayed
any
this evening,
like
we
Lord,
honest,
that
Father, to
cancel and
bless us, Father, we
and
pray the Lord Almighty, you
in the
bless him
mighty
to in
name
the
of
mighty
Jesus. We speak by the
in the
authority
mighty
of
let him be envious in his peers in
God.
the mighty name of Jesus.
Every blockade, every challenge of life, and
Father,
every
wherever
attack,
his foot will see
we
steps,
know you be an
pray the
establishment
Lord Almighty,
in
he
the
can
earth,
take
God,
possession of it in the mighty
and you are
name.
able to do
Father, whatever
exceedingly
his hands will find to do,
abundantly
Father,
and
I pray
above
that
all
Lord,
we can ever
you
think and therefore let your power, let us
thank you for
take
that.
charge in the name of
Glory.
take control, take control, take control, take control in the name of
Jesus.
and also to give us a closing prayer, and after that, everyone later will have the microphone. Remember to please pray for us and Lawyer Mega.
all right. Shall we pray together? Thank you very much, Dr. Quay. Thank you very much, Dr. Amega. Please, we are praying. Father, in the name of Jesus, everlasting King, I want to thank you for the life of your son, Lawyer Amega. We want to pray the Lord, you will sustain him for this good cause you have called him, O Lord, to cheer and to take people through. We believe the Lord, this teaching, O God, is from your son's heart. And Lord, our eyes have been opened. Our prayer is that help us, O Lord, to be able to buy into whatsoever we have learned this evening. With the Lord, in all our endeavors, we will not fail, even though as we state and as we study concerning the will, that is to mean that after we are no more there, we pray the Lord, if there is any misconception concerning these particular studies, Lord, may you erase it and carefully, perfectly take us through the right direction. We thank you because you have done so well with us. And we pray the Lord continue to keep your son in his health, in his finances, in his business, in his movement. We pray the Lord, you will protect and guide him. See him through in all life challenges. In Jesus Christ's mighty name, we call it done. Amen and amen.
Amen.
Please, I'll put Lawyer Amega's contact, email address and business contact. If you need any legal services, you pay some few dollars and euros, and he'll be available to support you. Lawyer Amega, thank you so much, and we are grateful. We'll talk back though. Reverend Mesa, please have the microphone, sir.
God bless you so much, Doctor. And
Thank you
God
too.
bless. God bless you so much, Lawyer. We are much grateful. Thank you so much. We'll invite you at a time because we need more. We need more information. And thank you for availing yourself. The Lord richly reward you abundantly. Amen. Quickly, please. Immediately we end this meeting, the shepherds are meeting for an urgency, for an emergency. So as soon as we shake the grace, we all log out, then we come back again for the emergency meeting. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Wow, thank you very much, and we thank God so much. And we please all omit and share the words of the grace together as we close. May the grace of our Lord
Grace of
Jesus
our
May the
Lord
Christ,
grace
Jesus
of our
Christ,
Lord Jesus Christ, the
the love
love
of
love of God,
God,
and the
God,
and
sweet
the
and
and
the
free
fellowship
the
of the
fellowship
Holy
of the
fellowship
Spirit
of
Holy
the Holy
Spirit
Spirit
be with us
abide
be
now
with
with
us
us
and
now
now
forever.
and forevermore.
forevermore.
Amen.
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 and surely goodness and mercy shall
Goodness
God's
and
follow us
mercy
goodness
shall
and
follow us
mercy is following us,
All the days of our
all the
life,
days of our life,
the
and
way.
we
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 shall
shall
and we
dwell in
shall
the
in the
house
dwell in
house
the house of the Lord
forever
of
and
the
forever
ever.
and ever.
Lord.
Please,
Amen.
Amen.
tomorrow we are praying. Tomorrow is Friday. We are praying. 7 o'clock Germany, 6 p.m. Ghana. Please let's log on time and we can close on time. God richly bless you and have a very good night.